A1 on the way for USGT, brought to you by RC Baker. Topher Cabrales jumping on that early lead. He's got Ken Gerberding in the second spot. Scotty Barnes in third, Gus G in fourth. These guys freight training around. Topher starting to pull away just a bit from Ken. Ken gets a little loose. You got to give Scotty Barnes a chance to close in. Barnes has to check up and drop back just a bit. Gus G coming under some pressure from Jason Smith down the back straightaway. Jason in that copper color car gets a little hairy through that sweeper. Has to check up. Oh, Gus has to check up as well. Oh, Jason gets a little touch on that curve. That's going to drop him back into that second spot. Here comes Topher Cabrales, comes by with a 12-7. Ken Gerberding 12-8. Scotty Barnes 12-9. Top three starting to pull away. Ken hits that inside pipe. That gives Scotty Barnes up into the second spot now. Ken Gerberding dropping back to third. Gus G sitting back there in the fourth spot. Your top four starting to pull away just a bit. Here comes Jonah Gallant up into the fifth spot now, trying to join that battle. Topher comes by with a 12-9. Barnes with a 13 flat. Gerberding 13 flat. Gus with a 13-1. Jonah 12-9. Cabrales starting to pull away from Barnes just a bit. Cabrales with a 12-8. Barnes 12-9. Gerberding with a 12-9 as well. 1:30 down and 3:30 still left to go. Here comes Cabrales down the back straightaway. Topher comes by with a 12-8. Barnes 12-7, starting to inch his way a little closer. Ken Gerberding coming along for the ride as well. Cabrales hits that inside pipe. Drops him back a couple tenths, but here comes the battle. Oh, Barnes hits one as well. Here comes Ken Gerberding right behind him. Second and third, nose to tail. Ken Gerberding goes on the inside, has to check up because he couldn't quite get the turn made. Good call from Ken to back off a little bit and continue the battle later on. Here they come around. You've got in the center chicane, Scott Barnes in the black and teal car in the second spot. The yellow and white car of Ken Gerberding all over his back wings. They come down the back straightaway. 12-9 for Barnes, 12-7 for Ken. The leaders start to come up through some lap traffic. The white, green, and purple car of Topher Cabrales out in front. Lester, that second and third, coming in next. And then Theo and Jared got your leaders coming up. Topher Cabrales still out in front. Got a second advantage on Scott Barnes in that second spot. Scotty's starting to open it up on Ken just a little bit as they come down the back straightaway with 2 minutes left to go. Everybody's settled in right now. Oh, Scott Barnes goes around the outside, gets a little loose. Ken Gerberding on the inside, takes the spot away. Gerberding up into the second spot. Scott Barnes drops back to third. That gives Cabrales a little bit more breathing room now. So we're coming through some lap traffic right now. 1:30 left on the master clock. Cabrales out in front. Ken Gerberding in second, and then you got Scott Barnes in third. Gus G up in the fourth spot. Jonah Gallant about 4 seconds behind him in the fifth spot. Jason Smith in sixth. Oliver Clipper in seventh. Jared K in eighth. Theo Kaptanis in ninth. And Lester Brooks in the 10th spot. 1 minute left to go. Race number 8 coming up next. F1 coming up next. Ooh, Gus G goes on the inside, takes the spot away from Scotty Barnes, and they come down the back straightaway. Gus G up into third, Barnes back to fourth. Battle through that center chicane right now. The white and green car of Gus G in third. Scott Barnes looking for a place to get by. Down the back straight they come. Barnes on the inside, motors him down the back straightaway. Gus hits that inside of the sweeper. Oh, they touch just a bit. Gus lets them go back by so they can resume their battle with 30 seconds left to go. Battle for that final podium position in A1 in the USGT. Scott Barnes hanging on to that third spot. Gus a little bit tighter through his turns. Able to close that gap. Watch the back straightaway. Watch the back straight. Back straight. That is clear. And we're closing in on time. That is time. Drivers finish lap. You're on. Ken, you are done. Topher Cabrales on a victory lap. Here comes around the lap in front of the driver's stand one final time. Cabrales in the left chicane down the back straightaway. Topher Cabrales taking the win in USGT A1. Ken Gerberding finishing in second. Scotty Barnes finishing in third. USGT A2 brought to you by RC Maker on the line. You got Topher Cabrales, your TQ, jumping out that early lead. Topher taking the win in A1, looking to bring it home and take the overall. We will have to see if he can hang on. If he takes the win in A2, he will be your overall champ in USGT. Cabrales with a 12-2, Gerberding with a 12-3, Jason Smith in the third spot with a 12-5. Then you got Gus G in the fourth spot. Jonah Gallant in fifth. Scotty Barnes is on the inside of Jonah Gallant, takes over that fifth spot. Good battle for fifth and sixth down the back straightaway. Scotty Barnes hanging on to that spot. Jonah Gallant right behind him. Jonah goes on the inside, takes the spot away from Scotty, but out front, you've got Topher Cabrales out in front with Ken Gerberding on his back wing. Top two cars are nose to tail in front of the driver's stand right now. Through that left chicane and down the back straightaway, Cabrales with a 12-1, Gerberding with a 12-2. Around the keyhole section and into that center chicane, Cabrales still out in front. Gerberding in second. Then you got Jason Smith in third. Gus G in fourth. Lester leaders, thank you. Gerberding hits that track barrier just a bit, drops back about a half a tenth. Here they come down the back straight one more time. Cabrales with a 12-4, Gerberding 12-3. Trying to keep in that fight. Then you got Jason Smith still in that third spot, not too far back, about a second and a half behind your leaders. Gus G right behind him in the fourth spot. In fifth, you got Jonah Gallant. 2 minutes down, 3 minutes left to go. Ken Gerberding with a big mistake through that left chicane. That's going to drop him back about 1 second behind your leader. Topher Cabrales looking to wrap up the overall championship here in the One-Up Cup in the USGT class. With the win in A2, he will be your overall champ. Ken Gerberding trying to make it go to A3, trying to make him sweat it out. Topher with a 12-1, Ken with a 12-1 as well. Leaders trying to come through some lap traffic. Thank you, guys. Just past the halfway point, Topher Cabrales, the white, purple, and green car out in front. That yellow and white car trying to reel him in. Topher with a 12-5, Ken with a 12-2, starting to reel him back in. 3 minutes down and 2 minutes left to go. Your top two cars are starting to get close again. Gerberding on the move, trying to reel him back in. Cabrales with a 12-3, Gerberding with a 12-5. Then you got Jason Smith still hanging on to third with Gus G right behind him in the fourth spot. Good battle for third and fourth, coming through some lap traffic on the back straight. Cabrales able to open up just a little bit more on Ken Gerberding last couple laps. 3:30 down and 1:30 still left to go. Third and fourth coming through some lap traffic right now in front of the driver's stand. Thank you, guys. Here comes your top two in front of me right now with 1:15 left on the clock. Cabrales with a 12-6, Ken Gerberding with a 12-4. Gerberding starting to inch his way back closer. Here they come down the back straight again. 12-3 for Cabrales, 12-1 for Gerberding. He is inching closer and closer with 1 minute to go. Cabrales trying to wrap this up in A2, but here comes Ken Gerberding closing that gap. 12-3 for Cabrales, 12-2 for Gerberding. In front of the driver's stand, they come. Topher Cabrales out in front. Ken Gerberding inching his way closer. Cabrales 12-1, Gerberding 12-1 as well. They are within about 10 feet right now with 35 seconds left to go. Through that left chicane and down the back straight. Gerberding gets a great run down the back straightaway. Cabrales with a 12-3. Gerberding with a 12-1. All over that back wing. with 20 seconds left to go. Cabrales trying to wrap up this overall championship in this race. Gerberding trying to make it go to A3 with 15 seconds left to go. They should have one more lap to go. Cabrales gets a little loose. Here comes Gerberding all over that back bumper. Down the back straight they come for one final time. This is their white flag. Here comes Gerberding all over the back wing. That is time. Drivers finish the lap you're on. Gerberding trying to make a run on that final section here through that left chicane. Cabrales comes across the line. Will take the win. Topher Cabrales will be your overall USGT One-Up Cup Series champion. Topher Cabrales taking the win in A2 and your overall. USGT A3 brought to you by RC Maker on the track. Ken Gerberding jumping out that early lead. He's got Scotty Barnes in the second spot. Gus G in third. Jason Smith in the fourth spot. This is race number 29. Race 30 F1's coming up next. Ken Gerberding starting to open up a little bit of an advantage on Scott Barnes. Oh, here comes Gus G right in behind Scott Barnes. They come around the keyhole turns right now. Gus G all over the back wing of Scott Barnes in front of the driver's stand. Battle for second and third. Right behind him is Jason Smith in that copper colored car. Jason all over the back bumper of Gus G as well. Then you got a little bit of a gap back to Jonah Gallant in the fifth spot. Ken Gerberding with a 12-3. Barnes with a 12-4. Gus with a 12-3. Down the back straight they come. Gerberding with a 4. Barnes with a 3. Gus with a 3 as well. Jason Smith with a 12-7. Good Jonah with a 12-7. Gerberding 12-2, Barnes 12-2. You're starting to pull away from Gus just a bit. 130 down in 330 still left to go. Top four still running together on the back straightaway now. Ken Gerberding, the yellow and white car, out in front. Scott Barnes in second. Gus G in third. And you got Jason Smith in fourth. Lester, leaders coming up on you. Thank you, sir. One more. Coming up on that halfway point, 230 down, 230 still left to go. Yellow and white car out in front, Ken Gerberding. Ken finishing second in both A1 and A2. Looking to try to wrap up the second spot overall today. He's got Scott Barnes right behind him, closing in big time. Scott gets a little loose coming onto the back straightaway. Gerberding with a 12-4, Barnes with a 12-6. Here they come across the line again, both of them with a 12-4 with 2 minutes left to go. Gus G with a 12-2 that time by. Quick lap of the race, trying to reel these guys back in. He's bringing Jason Smith along with the party. Third and fourth, running nose to tail. Barnes hits a little bit of a rumble strip that's going to drop him back from Ken Gerberding. But here comes Gus G starting to reel in Barnes a little bit. .130 left on the master clock. Gerberding with a little mistake. It's a four-way battle down the back straightaway now. Scotty Barnes right behind Ken Gerberding in that second spot. Gus G in third. Jason Smith in fourth. Leaders coming up on you, white car. Oh, Ken Gerberding getting tied up with the lap car. Gonna drop him down. Jason Smith now out in front. Jason out in front, Gus G in second. Scott Barnes in third, Jonah Gallant in fourth. Here comes your leaders down the back straightaway one more time. Jason Smith out in front. Gus G in second. Right behind him with 15 seconds left to go. They're going to get by for one more time. Battle for the lead in A3 coming through. Lester, leaders right behind you with 5 seconds left to go. That is time. Drivers, here they come down the left back straight one more time. Jason Smith taking the win in A3. Gus G coming home in second. Scotty Barnes in third. Your overall standings for USGT A main event. Topher Cabrales, your overall winner. Ken Gerberding will come home in second. Third spot's going to go to Gus G.